Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So, this is probably the last episode for the day. It's been quite the day though. We got a first look at Phyrexia. All will be one, I believe that's the name. It just keeps slipping from my mind. Anyways, I think that's the name. That is the set that's going to be coming out in February, I believe, and January 17th, I think they just announced is going to be the first day of official spoiler season, so mark your calendars for that. But yeah, we got an early sneak peek of some of the exciting cards. If you haven't seen my episode on Elish Norn or Slowbad, make sure you check those out. Don't leave just yet, though, because on this episode, we've got an oldie but a goodie returning with Koth getting a new card. That's right, Koth, Fire of Resistance, is here. A legendary Planeswalker Koth. And you might notice actually really quick that set symbol is, well, it shows that's a rare. And usually these are mythics for, Planeswalkers, but apparently rare Planeswalkers are coming back in this set. I believe they mentioned that there's 10 Planeswalkers in this set. So Planeswalker fans out there, well, you're going to have a lot to look forward to. And yeah, Super Friends deck's going to have a lot to look forward to. Maybe not with this one, but regardless, we'll talk about some commanders that might want to utilize this. Regardless, starting off at 4, starting loyalty, 2 red, +2, search life for a basic mountain card to reveal up in your hand, then shuffle. -3, cost can deal damage to our creature equal to the number of mountains you control. Nice. -7, you get an emblem with, whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. So yeah, Koth was all about mountains, and now the new Koth is all about mountains. Go figure. So yeah, the first one, a good +2, get that loyalty up, get a mountain into your hand, make sure you're hitting your land drops. Also, if you are maybe in a landfall deck, maybe you've got access to green as well. We'll talk about some commanders here in a bit. You've got, of course, more ways to potentially get additional lands into play or get lands from your hand directly into play, so you can ramp further, ramp faster. And yeah, this is just a good value engine to ensure that you're hitting those land drops and, ramping when you can with that kind of stuff. -3, that's a good way to obviously take out, again, if you're in a mono red deck, probably eventually, any creature on the board essentially, when you really need to get rid of them, if you're using a lot of mountains. Of course, also keep in mind, when I do say this as well, there are, mountains that aren't just basic mountains as well. This is not specified basic mountains. So of course, like triumphs, those will be counted as well. So yeah, make sure you're keeping that in mind too. The -7 though, getting that emblem, this is a great ultimate, again, especially if you are in that mono red deck, or if you're in a deck, again, that, well, can, be, probably a lower, maybe 2 color deck, maybe 3 at the most. But yeah, one that utilizes, again, green, obviously, so you can get extra lands into play, get more and more lands into play, get more and more mountains into play, dish out a lot of damage, again, any target. So you can take out creatures with this trigger, obviously. And of course, you can also take out, well, eventually players, of course. And yeah, obviously, and you're in red, you've got access to, doubling and even a tripling effect when it comes to damage. So you can make that hit even harder. So yeah, this Koth, mono red decks are going to love it because, yeah, this is just all about mountains. You're going to have plenty of mountains in those. And again, also, I'll bring up some other, landfall synergistic decks that can really make good use out of a commander like this. Now, before we talk about those commanders, though, I kind of want to point out, well, that this new Planeswalker is kind of like certain cards, and the two that came to my mind, well, it's kind of a combination of them in a way. Liliana of the Dark Realms. This is kind of like a copy-paste of Liliana, but like just changing, well, not too much, really. Liliana of the Dark Realms, a Planeswalker that, okay, this one does have 3 starting loyalty, the new one has 4. Basically the exact same mana cost, though. Again, 2 black versus 2 red. The +1 is now +2 with Koth, obviously, but again, search life for a swamp, reveal up in your hand, then shuffle. Basically the exact same thing, again, ensuring that you're hitting your land drops in mono black, essentially. -3, again, a -3. Koth has the exact same thing. Target creature gets +X/+X or -X/-X until I have turn X the number of swamps you control. So this one actually, can pump creatures, can also take out, indestructible creatures. But yeah, very similar way to, take out creatures, with Koth. And then the -6, very different. Obviously, you get Emerald Swamps you control, have tap, add 4. So yeah, basically mass, ramp essentially in a way, versus Koth is more so, mass amounts of damage. So yeah, some similarities, some differences, but yeah, Koth definitely took some inspiration from Liliana. Though, again, I do think Koth is going to have more applications and a lot more decks out there, in my opinion, because Liliana, yes, very good in mono black. I wouldn't say, nearly as good in landfall, because landfall typically tends to be, more into red and green versus, green and black. There are, of course, certain exceptions in certain ways that, it leans that way, but more so I would say red and green. And we'll talk about, again, some commanders here in a little bit. Of course, the other card that, Koth is very reminiscent of, especially, that ultimate, is Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. A land that enters battlefield tapped. Whenever a mountain enters battlefield under control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you can have Valakut Molten Pinnacle deal 3 damage to our creature or player, taps and adds red. Yeah, basically a very similar thing. Whenever mountains come into play with Koth, you're going to be dealing, 4 damage? So an extra damage. And again, any target, basically I think Valakut's, reworded to be the exact same. But yeah, any target essentially. So, of course, a deck that's got Koth in it is also going to like a deck, also going to like having Valakut in it as well. So anytime a mountain comes into play, as long as you've got 5 or more, which you probably will, you're going to be dealing 7 damage, when you're doing that. So, yeah, a lot of potential there. And again, a nice little callback. And again, it's kind of like, a combination of, again, like the Liliana, but, reworked as red, and then Valakut, with that as well. I guess, like there's plenty of spells as well that, deal damage based on the number of mountains. Or not plenty, I guess, but deal damage based on lands. Like Ruin, essentially, is one too. So that's the first one that came to mind. Regardless, let's move on and now talk about, the old days, and just see kind of the comparison to actually Koth itself, the original Koth of the Hammer, legendary planeswalker. Koth starts off with 3 starting loyalty, costing 2 red, so exact same cost, gets 1 more loyalty to start off with this new version though, and then a +1 untapped target mountain comes a 4/4 red elemental creature till end of turn, silly land, -2, add a red, your mana pool for each mountain you control -5, you get an emblem with mountains you control have, tap this land deals 1 damage to our creature or player. Yeah, I think that +1 is just okay. I mean, it's good to be aggressive, if you want to be aggressive with that. I like this new cost +2 better, allowing you to hit your land drops more effectively, more efficiently. Obviously, a nice, ritual effect for, your mountains is great too, to help you get ahead of your opponents. And that last one is pretty spicy, allowing you to ping players or, creatures with your mountains themselves. But of course, pinging them when they just come into play for 4 damage can be a lot quicker of a way to take players out. But yeah, I mean, both obviously work very well together. So yeah, if you can get both these into play, there's gonna be a lot of synergies there and a lot of exciting things that you can do, especially once you get both ultimates off. So yeah, a good amount of potential with that. Speaking of potential, yeah, I've mentioned this a couple of times now. Yeah, commanders. There's going to be some commanders that really want to utilize Koth. Now, I will say that obviously, anytime a Planeswalker comes out, it's like, oh, Super Friends. Koth is a bit specific on what it wants to do. I mean, what he wants to do. Basically, like, okay, I can go get basic mountains. If you're playing a 5-color, Planeswalker-centric deck, Super Friends, how many times are you going to be able to activate that +2? I mean, a decent amount. Maybe, 2 or 3, potentially, depending on how many basic mountains you have in the deck. But also, again, you're only going to be able to take advantage of certain things so many times. I mean, yes, sure, if you have all the triumphs, you have all that kind of stuff, you have a lot of, mountain types in there as well. You can really take advantage of your emblem too. But yeah, when it comes to commanders that I would recommend more so, because there are probably better picks again for, Super Friends builds, the more so I would kind of lean towards, obviously mono red commanders that want to consider this, but also, like I mentioned before, landfall commanders, especially ones that, might have, only 2 colors, with, red green, a great combination for landfall, Meaning Undead Wildborn. You may play additional land on each of your turns. Yeah, Meaning Undead really like to get extra lands into play. Koth wants you to get more and more mountains into play. Cool, it's gonna work great. And obviously Koth can just get you that extra mountain for you to actually just get into play with this. Also, pay red, green, turn a land you control back to its own hand, target creature gains trample until end of turn. Obviously, that works very well with Koth's ultimate because, yeah, you can just, let's say you just have 1 mountain. Cool, go get that mountain with Koth. Awesome. You get that mountain, you get it into play. You bounce it back to your hand, you get it back into play. So yeah, that's 8 damage right there with Koth's, ultimate, emblem. Have fun with that. Have fun taking out a lot of players with this. And of course, there's going to be a lot more, landfall synergies with this. A lot more ways to ramp, a lot more ways to, get additional lands into play, a lot more ways to, get more mountains into play. So yeah, your Valakut-esque, emblem can really do a lot of work. Speaking of which, yeah, paired with Omnath Locus of Rage, this can be pretty effective as well. Whenever you land enters battlefield under control, create a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token. Whenever Omnath or another elemental you control dies, deals 3 damage to any target. So now your mountains are doing even more work for you. Again, Koth is getting you those mountains. Cool. You're going to have ways to get them into play, ways to get even more tokens. Again, a 5/5 for every single land you get into play. That's great. And also when they die, they ping for 3. So yeah, you're pinging with your mountains essentially when they come into play, right? With that emblem, once you get it, 4 damage, plus, that creates a token that's a 5/5. And if that token dies, an extra 3 damage anywhere. So yeah, you can do a lot of work with an Omnath deck once you're set up properly with Koth. Finally, how about, Phylath, another landfall commander that is fantastic. Enters the battlefield, you get a 0/1 green plant creature token for each basic land you control. Again, this commander benefits you by going heavy into basics. Koth also benefits you heavily for going into, at least mountains, basic lands, or at least that have the mountain type. Whenever a land enters battlefield you control, put 4 counters on target planet you control. So you're not only getting 4 damage with, Koth's emblem once you get to that, but you're also getting 4 counters on plants. So yeah, I mean, Phyleth can make you a bunch of, tokens, a giant token army, so they can be a great blockers to, protect Koth while you get things built up, and then also, make them massive over time. Koth can supply you with the lands. It can be a very good combination. One more that I will mention, I mean, yes, you can branch out into, again, 3 color plus if you really want to and utilize, Koth in that kind of a deck. Obviously, make sure that you've got enough mountains in the deck to make it worthwhile. Lord Windgrace, though, utilizes a lot of lands. Plus, you discard a card, draw a card. For lands, discard this way, draw a card. You're going to have a lot of lands in a deck like this. -3, return to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, yeah, that one, I mean, again, if you have that emblem, you're going to be dealing out, if you're getting back 2 mountains? 8 damage? So, split, in 2 ways if you want to. But 8 damage can be a lot with that -3. And, yeah, no one uses that last part. But, yeah, anyways. Lord Windgrace might be a consideration as well. Again, make sure you've got enough mountains to make it worthwhile, though. And again, if you are considering for a Super Friends build, same kind of thing. There are, in my opinion, probably better Planeswalkers out there for Super Friends decks. You might be able to utilize it, though, with the right deck. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's my take on Koth. Koth, I think, is a very interesting new Planeswalker. One that, again, it's interesting that we are seeing a Planeswalker, back at Rare. To my knowledge, it's been quite a while since we've really seen one at Rare. Please let me know in the comments below. I would probably think, War of the Spark was probably last time, I would think. Let me know in the comments below, though. I might be wrong on that. Regardless, though, let me know what your thoughts are on Koth. What kind of a deck would you use it in? And, of course, stay tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming out. And, yeah, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.